Hey everybody, what's happening? Welcome back to the No Cover TV podcast. Look who's in the house. Terry Douglas is joining us today, and we're going to have a great interview with Terry. Yeah, he doesn't even know where he's at. No, we're going to have a good time. But first off, I got to talk to you out there and say thank you to each and every one of you checking out the No Cover TV podcast with all these great artists that are coming on, all genres, all age groups, all around the world. And all the audio shows are still on Spotify. You can check those out. Plus, they're here on YouTube to look at. And we did a lot of great audio shows, a lot of fun. But the fun part now is the video shows that we're doing, because it's like back doing the TV show back in the day. And we had a lot of fun in the studio. You never know what's going to happen because it's live. This is live on Facebook and YouTube right now. And the comments I will post. And you never know what's going to happen during a live show. Oh, yes, indeed. So watch out. Yes. What am I going to say next, people? You know what I'm going to say next. My three favorite words. Support, support, support. Support these artists. Go to the shows. Pay that cover charge if there is. When we get to that swag table, get an album, a CD, a T-shirt, a hoodie, a coffee mug, keychain, bumper sticker. Oh, my list goes on. Get to that stage and enjoy that show. See me stick around and meet these great artists right here. Get an autograph if you can. You don't know where they're going or where they're headed, and most of them are headed straight to the top. Great music. And these artists like Terry right here are doing what they're doing for the love to put a smile on your face. Your smile kicks right back to them, puts a big old smile on their face. So it works all the way around. Music makes the world go around. It's a great thing. I love it. So let's get on with our show. Terry Douglas is in the house from the Terry Douglas Band. How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. Thank you for coming on this evening. It's a Tuesday, I think? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Call it that.
I don't even know what day it is. My God, I gotta get some sleep. So how you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Those holidays got me all messed up. I was thinking Friday was Saturday, Saturday was Sunday, and I didn't know what the hell Sunday was last week.
Right on. Right. I got a full belly. I don't know what to do. I just want to sleep and leave me alone, but that doesn't work. So Terry here, he's in Ohio, just down from me because I'm up in Michigan here, and we're dealing with this cold, snowy weather that's coming in, and we are not going outside.
Oh, no.
Are we, Terry? No, not at all. So,
No,
Terry, man, you are a busy person, and I got to say, wow, man. Been checking your music out, playing it over and over. My God, you are one badass outlaw country rock player, man. You are something else, brother.
It's not me. It's my band, man. My guys are just amazing, and they've been with me a long time, and I have to give them all the kudos, man. I just write some words down on a paper. They help me with live, so.
Terry really doesn't do much of anything, does he?
I just show up and look pretty,
Right on. Before we get with Terry and what's going on now with his music and stuff, you know what I do, people, is I got to jump in these artists' heads, see how far I can get in there and dig and see what we can pull out of them. So, Terry, you going to allow me to jump in that head of yours?
Jump on in, buddy.
Let's find an entrance. Let's get in there. All right, let's get into Terry's head. All right, Terry, what I want to do is oh, boy, look at that. Oh, you really did that. Okay, well, we won't talk about incidents. So anyways, Terry, let's take you back to when you were a young kid, all right? I want to go back to around 8 to 10 years old. That's when we're starting to feel what we like in music, what our parents are listening to. If we have siblings, what they're listening to, we're honing into what we like. What were you grasping on at that early age? You remember?
Yeah, I do actually, pretty vividly. We had one of those old, it was a record player, 8-track. I think there was a radio in there, like the console that had the records underneath. And my parents had everything. They had like old classic country, Motown, some of the stuff in the 70s rock. And I grew up on all of that stuff. My dad was more of the country side of it. My mom was, the rocker side of it. So we had everything from Elvis to the Beatles to Waylon to that was my musical upbringing back around those ages. And around that time is when I actually got my first guitar. I didn't do too much with it then, but
okay, sure.
First time it kind of came into my life, and I started plucking around with it and saying, this is kind of cool.
Okay, and speaking of that guitar, 2 questions: the make of it, and do you still have it?
I think it was a Harmony, and I don't have it anymore. No,
don't have it anymore.
No, okay. I had it until my younger sisters, I think, got a hold of it, and then I didn't have it anymore.
How many siblings do you have, Terry?
I have three sisters. All three of them are younger than I. So I was the only boy in the house. Me and my dad against the world. So.
Oh no, man! Oh, Sandra says, "How do you all?" Hey, Sandra, how you doing? It's good to see you. So she's in the house, so she's watching. That's great. So, like I said, I'll post these comments as they come in, my friend.
Right.
So, okay, so you got the guitar about 10 years old. You're thinking around 10.
Yeah,
Okay, you just
9, 10, somewhere in there. And I
okay.
piddled around with it a little bit. I learned a couple chords. My uncle is the one that gave it to me. My uncle was in he played a lot of bluegrass, and he lived in
Oh,
Cleveland, and
okay.
he was, he was very influential in getting me started in the guitar. He's the one that bought me the first guitar. I took a couple lessons from him, learned a few chords, and then I was 10, so I wanted to go, run amok in the streets with my friends and
Right.
do all that. And then I came back to it, and this is kind of been an ongoing story up until about 15 years ago. But I kind of left playing music, playing guitar for a little while, and then around 14 or 15, I that's when I really started digging into it. I discovered Van Halen, and I thought it was the coolest thing on the planet. And then, you roll into the 90s and you got some Guns N' Roses and the grunge stuff that came in. And, and my first band I was ever in was a metal band.
Okay. Well, 90s metal, early classic. What was it?
Like we did some Judas Priest, some early Metallica, like Slayer was one of them, King Diamond, what was the other one? Dio, kind of stuff. Like we were all over the place.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Was in there.
That's good, wonderful. I have a little grudge with Judas Priest because I partied with them back in 82, 83, and it wasn't pretty, my friend. It wasn't pretty at all. That's all I'm saying.
I have a buddy of mine who I don't know if you remember Tim Owens, who was in Judas Priest for one album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my buddy was in a band with him, and they did some touring, and he always tells me about Judas Priest stories, so it's pretty cool. So.
I mean, at least they were polite enough to see if I was okay when I wasn't okay. But yeah, it was great times. It was a great time.
The 80s.
Oh God. Well, let me ask you, what was your first album back then? You remember?
The first album that I bought with my own money was Van Halen.
Nice.
Van Halen one. That was the very first one I bought. And then I proceeded to save up enough money to buy everything that was current at the time.
Sure.
And I just studied it. And then I just started collecting all kinds of I guess it was tapes or cassettes and CDs. I had to buy them all over again. So.
Yeah, we had to restock up every century, every decade. We got to keep changing things around. Just leave it alone, man. It was great when it was on albums and 8 tracks.
Well, now it's on albums again, so
they are exactly. I still have all my albums, so that's great. I love it. So okay, so you're listening to all this. Your first band's metal and stuff. Now, did you find your country kind of where you wanted to go with your sound when you were a teenager? Or did that come later?
Well, I actually quit music for 10 years at this point. So it's like I'm about 25. I had just gotten married, had a kid, and hung it up for a while. I hung it up a little while before that, kind of did the family thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then about 10 years later is when I really just said, you know what? I went to Guitar Center one day, bought me a guitar, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to try to make a go of it. Not professionally at that point in time. I'm just going to try to get back my chops back and stuff like that. So I started doing that, and I played, and I continued to play. And I really didn't start playing out again until it's after I moved down to Columbus. I moved down to Columbus in 2009. So it was about 2010.
About 2010. So 14, 15 years ago?
Yeah. So
right.
a big gap there. And it's funny because as I got closer and closer to doing that, the more I just kind of migrated to country, and I was discovering Glenn again and Willie and then the 90s country that's so good, and then And then, that coupled with the rock stuff that I grew up in kind of,
Man,
led to
that's
our sound.
it, it's a great sound. And people, yeah. Why don't you tell everybody out there in podcast land where they can find you and your music, Terry?
Sure. What I always tell people is go to terrydouglasmusic.com. Our socials are all linked to there. You can find everything that you want there, and you can buy music there. You can stream it there, whatever you want to do. You can do it right there on the site.
Great music, people. So don't go anywhere yet. You can check it out. We might be able to get Terry here to perform a song, maybe two. We'll see how he feels. Oh yeah, we'll see about that. Now, the Terry Douglas Band. When you first started out 15 years ago, you were just basically a solo act, and then you got the boys together. And were these friends of yours prior to starting the band?
All great questions. So I started off solo.
Okay.
I formed a band with the wrong people. And then that dissipated very quickly. And then I swore off of I'm never going to do a band again. I'm just going to write music, release stuff. And then I had a buddy of mine who was a drummer who was just coming out of the band. He's like, you should really put a band together. I'm like, Scott, I can't. Like, I don't want to get into that situation again.
Drama.
He keeps bugging me. I'm like, all right, you know what, man, I'll tell you what. You want to do a band with me? You could be the drummer. You could be the band leader. I want 2 guitar players. I want a bass player, a steel player. And, obviously you could be the drummer. I'll play rhythm and sing. You set it all up. Tell me when and where I'll show up, and then we'll go from there and see how it goes. No shit, dude. 2 weeks later, he calls me up. Hey, I got this guy on steel. I got this guy for guitar. I got this guy on bass. I'm going to play drums. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going to start a band. So that was the official start of the Terry Douglas Band. I wanted to name it something cool, but everybody's like, well, it's your original stuff, so we'll just call it you. I'm like, all right, fine. Makes it easy. I can remember it. So, we cycled through some people. One of the things that I did early on, and I always tell people when they ask me for advice on how to put a band together, I'm like, make one of your first 10 gigs one of those ones you got to go out of state and stay overnight.
There you go. That'll do it right there.
And we did that, and quickly found out that, my buddy, the drummer, wasn't the right drummer. And we quickly found out that our bass player wasn't the right bass player. So we filtered through some people, and I ended up through our old steel player. He helped me find my drummer, Billy, who's been with me. He's been around we've been around 6 years. He's been there for 5 years and 8 months. So he's been there almost from the beginning. Okay. And then we went through a couple different bass players. And then a buddy of mine that played in a rock band had just left his rock band. He didn't know what he wanted to do. I'm like, you ever think about playing country, Southern rock kind of stuff? I was like, I'll give it a try. And he come out and nailed it. He learned 65 songs in 12 days or something like that.
Sweet.
I'll play a gig, and what do you think? And then, they'll come in, jump in, do their parts. And next thing you know, we have another song. So,
well, that's great. I wanted to hear how you did that. Now, I'm looking around and everything, and it's your music. You've got a lot of fans around the world that love what you're doing. What do you think of that, Terry?
Man, I don't know what to think about that. I'm appreciative of every single one of them, man. And it's crazy to me. I'll have friends that'll go to see like another really big band. Like I had some friends that went down to the Shed in Tennessee and saw Blackberry Smoke, and there were people walking around with Terry Douglas t-shirts at the Blackberry Smoke show. I'm like, nice. That's cool,
That's cool. That's real cool.
I was looking at my Spotify numbers today, like for the year. I have obviously United States is my biggest market, but there's a whole bunch of other places that I didn't even know my music reached that it's reaching it, which just blows my mind that a guy could sit here and write songs in Thornville, Ohio, and some guy, over in UK can listen to him and appreciate him. So
what do you think about, back in, our day when, I'm sure I'm a little older than you, but not much maybe, but when we had to pop the trunk, put the posters on the telephone poles and sell the cassettes and try to, get people to our shows and start fights with other bands because they thought they were better than us, compare those days.
I miss those days.
So I got a big nose.
I always joke with my wife, I'm not a musician. hour sales pitch. And
That's about where I was going with that is, did you like it back then or do you like it now where you just got to push a few buttons and the music's all over the world?
I like the reach that we have now, but I like the personal connection um of back then. I feel like that back then people would be more apt to listen to if you walked up and be like, "Hey, check this out," and you handed it to them. You know, I feel like today you walk up to somebody, what are you going to do? Hey, listen to my phone. You know,
You're right.
so
Oh,
yeah, I like the convenience of today, and I do think that for a lot of independent artists, the internet has changed the world.
mm, it
And
has.
I believe that I don't think that I would be heard or people of in my genre would be heard as much nowadays, um, given how the music industry is. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that the internet is good for that. You know, the sad part of the internet is, everybody has an opinion about everything. And,
Mm.
the downside of the internet is I just don't read the comments.
Exactly. There's a critic for everywhere, for everything, it seems, especially in this business. All right. Now, you're also, an engineer and owner of what? Tune Imagineers or whatever? I can't even say that.
Studio. Yep.
Okay.
And we do we try to do a lot of stuff for the songwriter side of it. We
All
can
right.
handle productions up to full bands and stuff like
Oh,
that. I've done a whole choir in here at one point in time, which was pretty interesting.
all right.
But really, what I'm geared towards is songwriters. So let's say that you're a singer songwriter, you have a rough idea what you want your song to sound like. You can
Sure.
send it to us. I bring my guys in. We'll build the track for you. You could take it to a local studio, drop your vocal on it, send it back. We'll mix it and master it to you out the door for like $600. So
Oh man, and look up Terry here, and Terry will give you some info on that in just a little bit and stuff. But how long have you been in a studio? How long have you been an engineer?
I opened my first studio in Columbus in 2013. I
Okay.
had built one. I owned a house in Grove City, Ohio, and I had built one out in the basement. Like I took the whole basement
Oh, okay.
studio, and then, um, I moved out of there into a commercial space.
Mhm.
And then what happened there was a very interesting story. So, it was next to a pizza restaurant. So here's the pizza restaurant. Here's my studio. The shitter fan in the pizza restaurant caught on fire.
Oh,
So I was in the studio. I left to go grab something to eat. I come back and there are 12 Columbus fire trucks in my parking lot.
oh,
Pull in, they're like, "You can't be here." I'm like, "The hell I can't. That's my studio right there." And so,
right.
we had to cut through the ceiling. Fortunately, none of the equipment was damaged, but the landlord
Oh,
was giving me a real kind of the real to go about trying to get the building secured and
right.
a bunch of other stuff. So we ended up moving out of there. And I didn't have a space up until, well, when COVID hit. My wife and I decided, you know what? I need a space to do this. I had lost my rehearsal space for my band because it closed down because of COVID.
Oh,
We decided that we were in the middle of COVID, that we were going to take on a remodel. So
okay.
we made our kitchen a little bit bigger, added on like a master bath, master bedroom, which was made out of our old garage. And then we built a giant new garage next to the house, which the back half of it is my studio.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice. So now are you running a Mac Tower Pro Tools with plugins? What are you running?
I'm actually using a MacBook Pro.
Okay, use a Pro.
Yep, and Presonus software.
Oh,
I have Pro Tools, and I
mhm.
try to use it when I have to, I guess. But for me, the Persona stuff is just super easy to use, and
Sure. Yeah, we all fall into what we like. Now, let me ask this: since we're old school, any analog equipment in that studio?
not anymore.
Not anymore. Not
I
anymore.
used to have a bunch. I sold it all when I closed the other studio, and it's crazy because it all sits on my laptop now, and it sounds, to my ear, it sounds damn near the
It's
same.
It does. It's actually pretty cool how they can, replicate that sound. What we had in the '70s.
A cool, for example, on how good this digital stuff is my guitar player Dave, for the first 4.5 years that he played with me, always an amp, always a pedal board, right? And then we started playing these duo shows together, and he didn't want to bring an amp, so I'm like, "Well, just plug into the pedal board." And then he forgot to bring an amp, and he played it with the band through the pedal board, loved it, went out and bought this. It's that Fender Tone Master Pro or whatever, right? Has all the Fender amps in it. That thing sounds better than any Fender amp I've ever heard in my life.
Wow, nice.
Can be on stage, and none of us have amps on stage anymore. So it makes it the sound guy loves it. It makes a better experience for the audience, and we're still getting that feedback from, or the kind of air pushing from the
right.
So
Nice. I like that. Well, let's see where we're at. Oh, hey, it says ding ding. Let's have Terry play us a song. You think we can get a song from you, Terry?
I'll give it a whirl here. So
let's see if we can get Terry to do a song for us. Everybody, we love when the artist can do a song for us, or maybe two.
The song's called Tuning.
Tuning Rain. It's a great song. We all know that song. Let's do the G. Let's do the E. Let's do the F and the B.
All right. So we released this song we're going to release this song. We're going to send it out Texas Country Radio here as soon as I get off my butt and finish the one part of the vocals that I need to do. We've already released the song, but I went back and I made some changes to it before we released it to we're releasing it to Texas Country Radio. And the song is called Texas Skies.
Texas
and
Skies.
A little bit behind the story of it is just one of those kind of drifter songs about being alone and hoping that you can find that right person some point in time in your life. And I'm going to give it a whirl. We'll see how it goes.
Let's do it. Here's Terry Douglas.
On the dusty roads of Texas where the sun sinks slow and slow, I've learned the hard way that love can come and go. Wind whispers tales of pain, so many broken hearts. Maybe one of these lonely nights I can find me my star. A love that's deep and meaningful, as pure as the Texas skies. Someone to stand by me and never tell me lies. I'll take a chance on forever in love with all my mind, till I finally reach the end and I ride off into the night of those Texas skies. Been down so many roads and I've seen so much pain. I've learned the hard way that some things will never change. Still got this old guitar and a feeling to run. Maybe one of these lonely nights I can find me the one. A love that's deep and meaningful, as pure as the Texas skies. Someone to stand by me and never tell me lies. I'll take a chance on forever in love with all my might, till I finally reach the end and I ride off into the night of those Texas skies. Life can be a lonely road with no one to call your own. Hold out for love, never leave me alone. darkness, begging for you, please. Won't you please, please, please help me? Love that's deep and meaningful, as pure as the Texas skies. Someone to stand by me and never tell me lies. I'll take a chance on forever in love with all my might, till I finally reach the end and I ride off into the night of those Texas skies. Those Texas skies. Texas.
Oh, bravo, Terry Douglas. Thank you, my friend, so much. I love that. That's
That went better than I thought it was going to go. So
Man,
I
you
guess
always had
people in why I would say that. So I got home from, we played our gig on Saturday, and I got about 10 songs towards the end, and I started calling out weird stuff, man. I'm like, let's play some Josh Turner. Let's play some Randy Travis. You know, my voice was toast. I don't know if anybody that has kids in school, but the sickness just swirls around for the whole fall. So
goes around.
I went to the doctor today, and she's like, "Yep, you sounds like you have a viral something or other." So she put me on some antibiotics and some steroids. I know I look pretty pumped right now, but
Right
hopefully that'll clear it out in a couple days. I felt like garbage on Sunday, man. I'm just thankful that I could get into the doctor today.
Oh, good. I want you to feel better, my friend. That's great. All right, so we're going to jump over and we're going to go to some fun questions now. Let's do that. Have some fun. All right.
Hey, buddy.
All right, let's fire away. Where do I start? Let's go. Ting, this one right here. All right. 2 answers on this question. We're going to think around the world in our head a little bit. 2 stages Terry Douglas wants to step on and perform anywhere in the world.
Ryman Auditorium, Ryman Auditorium, and let me think about this because that's Red Rocks. That would be number 2.
Red Rocks is a great place. I've been there, stood on that stage, and the acoustics are perfect, my friend. You would sound beautiful there.
Yeah, right. But the Ryman, man, have you been to the Ryman?
Oh, no, I have not been to the Ryman. No.
My first time was a week and a half ago. I went to see the Steelwoods final show ever. They're calling it quits, right? I sat down in that seat and listened to that music and looked around at all these people, and just the aura of that building was amazing. And I always wanted to play there, but now I know why everybody wants to play there.
Right on. There's definitely those special places all over the world that every musician wants to step into and play at least once. Yes, definitely. All right, let's go to the next one here. 2 answers on this one. This has to do with people. A person that's alive, person that's passed away. Who is in your heart have you always wanted to step on stage and perform with, Terry?
Well, passed away. That's a tough one. There's so many greats that are gone. Let's see. Passed away. Boy, I would think Jerry Reed.
Oh, really?
Something.
Wow.
I think that would be amazing. He just seems like a fun cat to play music with.
Right.
He'd be somebody that's alive. I'd have to say Willie. He's like pretty up there right now. He'd have to be the one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, good. That would be a great show, you and Willie together. Oh, man. Yeah, that would be a heck of a time.
I don't know if I'd survive it if I smoked any weed with Willie, but
Willie's wacky weed. Oh, yes, indeed. You never know, my friend. All right. This question here, I like to hear the answer on this. And you've been doing this a long time, from when you were younger to the metal bands and now to the country stuff that's going on. When you get on the stage and you hit that first chord, you start playing your music, you and the guys, and you got a decent crowd out there. Maybe you say 2, 3, 500 people. They turn around and they start heading towards the stage listening to your music. You see them swinging, swaying. Maybe they are dancing. I don't know what they're doing out there. You never know half the time. But anyways, most of all, you might look out there and see some of these people singing your songs back to you. When you see all this, how does it hit you in the heart, Terry? How does it make you feel?
It takes my breath away, man. It always amazes me when somebody will request one of our songs, or they're sitting right up there in front singing along with it. It makes me feel like that I'm making some kind of little bit of impact in the world around me, and that's pretty dang cool right there, man. I think
It is. And you don't forget any of those moments. I mean, no matter how many there are, you'll always remember them.
Yeah, I had a guy when I released the first Terry Douglas album, and we were at a little bar not too far from our house here, and we were playing a set, and we played one of our original songs. And he comes up to me, he's like, "That song about the devil you don't know." He's like, "Who sings that?" I'm like, "That's one of mine." He goes, "Man," he goes, "Can I get that somewhere?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's CDs over here." He's like, "That song touched me more than you can even imagine. I just had a battle with a drug addiction and da 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 da, and he told me his whole life story, and that was pretty. It's something you never forget for sure."
No, that's really cool. That's cool because your music definitely does hit the heart to a lot of people because a lot of people can relate to your music. Ah, yes, because you're playing from the heart.
Yeah,
Ah,
that's
yeah.
why I know how to do it, man. I can't fake it. Like even our covers that we do. If I don't like the cover, I ain't gonna do it.
Right,
I
right.
don't care how many times you're telling me to play Morgan Wallen. I don't like it. I'm probably not going to play it. So,
Right. Now, when you're with the band and stuff, and say you do 3 sets, I mean it's a long gig, even 4 sometimes. When you're done, it's the third set. You're over. You do your encore, all that. You're walking off the stage. How long does it take Terry to wind down before you can relax and go to bed?
well, I'll give you a for example. Saturday night, we walked off the stage at midnight. Talked to a couple people. We got everything loaded up. We actually had a quick loadout on that night. We were on the road at 1 a.m. Took me 2
Okay.
hours to get home from the gig, 2.5. I got home at 3:30. I finally got to sleep about 5.
Well, not too bad. That's not
So
too
you
bad.
got to figure that's 2 hours in the car, another couple hours after I get home to wind down. But if it's a local gig or something and I get home, it's a couple hours, man. Especially if it was a great gig. And
Right on. Definitely. Yeah, it definitely takes me a few hours to come on down. Got to have something to eat and get my belly full and all that stuff.
yeah.
It was great. I want to ask a little question here, and I noticed you have a beautiful family and stuff. You have some children. I think you have what 3? You have a baby and 3 kids, there, young
Yeah,
ones.
4 on site here. Yep.
Okay. Have you instilled any of your music in any of the kids, or are they doing their own thing?
Well, my oldest, or my son, he's in choir. My
Oh,
daughter
nice.
is in marching band, and my
Beautiful.
8-year-old daughter just informed me she wants to learn piano this year. So, and my 2.5-year-old daughter is the drummer.
Is the drummer.
Comes out to the studio. She walks right through the studio, straight to the drums, ups the stick, starts hitting them. Actually, we thought for my 8-year-old daughter a couple years back, we thought she wanted to play drums, so we bought her like a little. It was like the Questlove Lugwood set. It was a couple $100 or
Right.
something like that. And it was set up in our living room up until about 2 weeks ago because we needed a place to put the Christmas tree. So my daughter, my 2.5-year-old daughter, would go over there, grab the drumsticks off the shelf.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so
That's cool. That's real cool. All right, now this question, I really want to hear an answer to this one, and I know it's had to happen since you've done rock and roll and country. Be honest with me, my friend. Any embarrassing moments on stage you want to talk about?
uh,
I mean, nobody's watching this. Nobody's listening. It's just me and you.
I think there was the one gig where this is back in the metal band days where we were playing this gig on Halloween, and we told our other guitar player that we were all dressing up, and nobody dressed up. So he had this big 80s metal wig on. But here's the funny part. So we're in the middle of the set, and I'm here, he's to my left, my guitar is pointing this way, and it was the early 90s, so we didn't cut the ends off of the strings, so they're dangling there, right? It hooked his wig, and we're jamming out, and his wig is just dangling off the end of my guitar the whole rest of the set.
That's funny. It usually happens to my rock bands and stuff. So yeah, that's a good example, right?
That's stuff, I do have a good story about a bar fight I could tell you that happened a couple years ago. Again, maybe I have a problem with Halloween shows because this one was on Halloween too.
Halloween, right? I remember a few Halloween fights, and it does seem to happen on All Hallows Eve.
We were playing a place down in Kentucky, and this guy thought the bartender had shortchanged him, so he left the bar, comes back in, and starts chucking change at this bartender. The bartender's the owner of the bar, the lady that owns it with her husband. She's this short little girl that's just feisty as all get out, right? She hops on his back, puts her arms around his head, has her fingers in his eye, riding him like a bull, trying to get him out of the bar. There was a guy that was there drinking, watching the band that was an off-duty police officer. He comes up and pops his joint out of his shoulder, pushes him out the door. The whole time I'm playing Write This Down by George Strait. I remember it like it was just stop. And we just kept going. So we finally took a break. The cops pull up, and the owner of the bar, he looks at the cop because it's a little town. He's like, hey, here's $20. You get him home. We don't want any trouble. So he gave the cops $20. Cops put him in the car, took his butt home. He ended up coming back and apologizing to everybody the next day. But I was joking, if there's a bar fight starting, I'm going to keep playing because I am the one with the best instrument or the best weapon in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been able to play into the honky tonk bars where you got the chicken wire up and people throwing bottles at you?
I have not gotten that experience yet. I'm sure that'll come and it'll be a good time.
Let me send you out west just a little farther, my friend.
We're trying to get it in the cards for next year, so.
Good deal. So did you say earlier have you got 2 more shows coming up this year and then it's off to the next year?
Yeah, we got 2 more band shows coming up. I have a couple duos and a couple solo shows left this year.
Okay, good.
But 2 more band shows this year, and then we call it our repair season because my drummer needs to get his meniscus fixed, so he's going to have knee surgery and he'll be out for a couple weeks. And then my bass player had a little bit of a health problem, so he'll be out till the middle of January. So it's our maintenance period is the end of the year.
Right. We need that. We need that. Oh, we're getting almost wrapping it up here. I got a couple more questions for you, but I want to give a big thank you to Sandra out there that helps you out with your PR and stuff. She's a good girl.
She's amazing. I've known her a very, very long time, and we've come a long way together. I mean, I remember reaching out to her. I don't even remember how it happened. I think I may have reached out to her about helping me doing some promotions when our first album came out even. And she was just amazing and always been a great friend to me. So
she is amazing. Thank you, Sandra, for all you do. Thank you so much. All right, a couple more questions before we get out of here, my friend. Future-wise, next 5 years, where do you want to see Terry and the band? Where do you want to see yourself?
I get that question asked a lot, and I never know how to answer it because, for me, the whole purpose of me doing music and doing it as part of my living is to be able to support my family and just write great songs. And wherever that takes me, it's going to take me,
Exactly.
5 years from now, honestly, I think that I'd like to be touring some mid-level theaters. If I'm being realistic, if we're being 100% realistic, touring some mid-level theaters, being able to sell out those shows. And I think once you're at that level, I think that you've built up a pretty good enough following to where you can tour around the country. And
oh yeah,
I'm really trying to work into that baseball schedule, buddy. April through October.
Okay, all right, my friend. Well, good. One more question here, and I like to hear this. And what, since you have kids, what advice would you give to the kids nowadays that want to do what me and you do?
Um, don't get a day job. If you think about it, like if I could have done something differently back when I was 18, if I would have went out and started playing solo gigs when I was 18, and making a couple $100 back then a night and expanding and doing all that stuff, I think I would have been able to gotten myself a lot farther a lot sooner.
True.
So I would say, if you're going to go after it, go after it. Maybe take a couple courses to really learn the business side, because those are hard lessons to learn.
They are hard lessons, and there's a lot of critics are do it your way, and be wary of the person that has a big smile and offers you the world, because run, just run, don't ask questions.
So,
Terry Douglas in the house, everybody. Terry, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on, brother. I want you back 6 months or a year. I want to see what's going on with you, my friend.
sounds great,
Thank
buddy.
you. This is your show. How you want to end it? You want to got any shout outs? Hi, Hayes, anybody out there? What do you want to say?
I'll say hi to the fellas out there, good old Wolf and Billy and Dave and of course my family and Bethany and the kids and really all of our friends and family that are out there that support us, that help us do what we do. We sure do appreciate all of you. And if anybody wants to join us, head on over to the website, terrydouglasmusic.com, and follow those socials there.
That's right. Go to the platforms he's on probably all the platforms out there like Spotify, Apple, all that. Go check out Terry Douglas Band. Great music, great music. Check him out if you can. He's out and about on tour and playing around. Terry, thank you, my friend. We're going to get out of here. If you need anything, you just get a hold of me. You know how to. All right, brother?
All right, brother. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Peace, brother. Peace to you, everybody out there. We'll see you next time. All right, we're out of here. See ya.